I don't understand. What's the cult following behind these things? Why do you guys love these so much? I guess if you're an off-roader, I get it, but a lot of these guys bring these Jeeps in, there's not a speck of dirt on them.
How was it working as a mechanic in your younger days?
It was good and very rewarding. However, my body is now paying the price.
And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
26.
What's one thing that always breaks on a Jeep?
Yeah, brakes on a Jeep, but a lot. So two of the most common things that we see on Jeeps, and particularly Jeep Grand Cherokees and more in particularly Jeep Wranglers, is that we see oil coolers leak a ton. And so the way that this oil cooler fits onto these engines is that it sits in a valley, and as it sits into a valley, it actually cools up the valley and starts leaking to behind the engine. And it kind of makes it look like a oil pan or a rear main seal is leaking. So we've seen a lot of times where shops like, oh, you need a rear main seal. Actually, it's the oil filter housing that's leaking. I would say that the classic death wobble is also predatory for Jeeps.
Every mechanic shop has secrets. So today we're going to tell the truth about problems baked into Jeeps right from the factory. It's not all about the random breakdowns, as he explained earlier, but really about the frustrating design choices and reliability issues we see over and over. And we're going to be seeing the simple fixes that trap a car in service bays or mechanic shops for days. Today we're showing you the problems that prove the Jeep thing sometimes means spending a lot of time and money in the shop.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I fucking hate Jeep people. I hate Jeep guys. I fucking hate them. I hate every fucking one of them. This guy's in here because his electric fans that he installed don't fucking work. Well, you wired him in here with speaker wire, leading directly over to this fucking microcosm of goddamn bullshit. I don't know. Maybe it's you put your relay pack down here, and again, no fuses, no nothing, wired directly to the fucking battery, and you put it right underneath. Why did you add a coolant filter? There's a coolant filter on this motherfucker, and that's leaking, and it's dripping right on your relay block. Don't forget that these unfused wires are literally getting pinched in your fucking hood release. You replaced all your battery cables with speaker wire. With fucking like, this is all like Walmart amp wire bullshit. Okay. And, you gotta have this great big old fucking coil. And don't even worry about mounting it, just fucking let it hang out there. Thankfully, it's not mounted because I can actually get at the fucking oil filter. Like, dude, I hate you.
And this is what some mechanics hate when others work on the car and they leave a mess for them to try and straighten out. But we're going to start with the sound every Jeep owner dreads, which is the Pentastar tick. This ticking in the 3.6 litre engine is a classic sign of a failing rocker arm, and the parts themselves, they aren't expensive, but the labor to reach them is significant, as you're seeing right here. If something like this is to happen in this particular engine you're looking on screen, it's going to take a whole lot of work to get to them. Now, if you ignore it, you're going to be risking major camshaft or cylinder head damage. Then there's the terrifying death wobble. You hit a bump, and the entire front shakes violently until you actually have to slam the brakes. We're going to be looking at that shortly.
I promise I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but can someone please explain the cult following behind these Jeep Wranglers? I don't get it. I don't understand. As a technician, I'm constantly working on these things. They're always in the shop for issues. It's only Tuesday, and this is my second one already. Brakes don't work. Battery's dead. I mean, these things have all sorts of issues all the time. And I'm not picking on this owner at all. This is actually a really nice example. He's got a lot of nice upgrades. But I don't understand. These things, from a technician's point of view, are junk. I'm just being completely honest here. These things have all sorts of issues all the time, from electrical to suspension to the body to mechanical problems. At least he's got the engine you want. He's got the good one, so I give him props there. That's, if you're gonna buy a Wrangler, make sure that motor's in here. But I mean, I don't understand. What's the cult following behind these things? Why do you guys love these so much? I guess if you're an off-roader, I get it, but a lot of these guys bring these Jeeps in, there's not a speck of dirt on them. A lot of these are pavement princesses. So I mean, what is it? They don't ride good. They're not comfortable to sit in. They don't get good gas mileage. They're not economical at all. They're constantly braking. Someone fill me in here. What am I missing?
He's trying to understand, but in the comments someone actually says when you realize they're not cars but toys, you'll definitely understand what it means. And another comment says issues are from cheap mods and lack of care, which is true. He said it basically in these videos. Jeep Wranglers are known as pavement princesses all around inside the automotive market. Another popular comment here says it's a Jeep thing. It's hard to explain to people who don't get it. As far as miles per gallon, mine gets 25 city. So far, no repairs. That may change in the future. And eventually, it's going to be an off-road buggy. But I'm getting the comfort use out of it right now. Everyone's experience is different. But take a look at this one.
Listen, don't buy no Jeep Wrangler. This was a mistake. I'm sitting in one right now. I was on my way to take a road trip. Got my whole entire car, my whole entire Jeep packed up, and it starts vibrating and shaking and breaking down on the road. Mind you, I bought it brand new, and it's going crazy on the highway. It's wobbling, and the whole car is shaking. I bought this car, no miles on it. This same thing happened to me 2 months after I bought this car. When I went to go to take it to them, I said, what is going on with my car? It's brand new. I've only had it for 2 months, and it's shaking, rattling, and rolling. What's good? When I get to the service department, they're like, what do you mean? What's going on? Explain it to me. So I'm like, it's shaking whenever I go over like a bump or something in the road. And then she's like, yeah, the death wobble. Okay. So if there's a name for it, that already lets me know that this is a common issue. You already knew what the hell I was talking about before I started talking. And 3, why are y'all selling this car to people if you know that something's wrong with it? So at that moment, I'm thinking, let me go ahead and give y'all car back, was the conversation I'm ready to have, and which is what I was telling her. She's like, no, it's just a common thing. You kind of fix it once, you know the corporate Aaron voice. It's a common thing. It kind of happens.
Yeah, it's a common thing with Jeep Wranglers, and the cause is almost always worn suspension or steering parts like the track bar for the ball joints. But diagnosing it is a pricey process of elimination for the customer. One parts are one thing, but built-in design flaws are what really gets under a mechanic's skin. The death wobble in particular here is a direct fault from the factory.
Once, and then we fix it, and like things are good. Things are not good, because here we are literally a year and it's doing the same thing. So then I go back to the service department and I'm like, hey, I used her term. She gave me the term, the death wobble. Matter of fact, when I got there, I said, it's doing the rattle. I'm from South Carolina by way of Georgia, okay? So I say death. I haven't seen death's funeral first happen. I'm death rattle. I know what a death rattle is. I had this before somebody died. So I say death rattle. She's like, oh no, the death wobble. I don't give a damn if it's the death wobble, rattle, shake, roll. You know what I'm talking about. And she's like, okay, yeah, all right. We can get you in January 10th at such and such. I'm like, it's 2 days before Christmas and I got a road trip to take. You can't get me until January 10th? Of course you can. You don't give a damn. You don't care. And I know that this is going to happen again because this is the second time that this has happened. So since it is going to happen again, what happens when it happens again? Well, you're covered under 36,000 miles because of the warranty. So you're aware of it. It has a nickname. You knew this before I bought the car. Only that nickname is called the Death Wobble. Hello. I'm sorry. I thought I was buying a safe vehicle for me and my daughter. I don't know. At this point, it's a regretful buy. I had a Nissan 2 times in the past. Let me tell y'all something. Nissan ain't failed on me yet. Reason why I'm making this video is because I want to talk to the girl who's about to buy a Jeep Wrangler because you like Jeep Wranglers, because that was me a year ago. And
we're going to be talking about Nissan further down in the series as I go through. But Jeep itself has a number of problems. A prime example is the oil filter and the cooler housing on the same 3.6 liter Pentastar engine. It's plastic and it's buried deep in the engine valley. When it inevitably cracks and leaks, what should be a simple job becomes a 6-hour puzzle of removing the intake manifold just to reach it. It's a design that wastes the time of the mechanics and it inflates the repair bill for no good reason. And we can't talk about Jeeps without mentioning the electrical nightmares that they comes with.
This is why auto technicians are leaving the industry. 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee has an intermittent issue with the car starting. And when I wiggled the wires over here at the firewall, right here, the car would start. Right here, when I wiggled this wire, the car would start. So in order to access that wire that I was talking about at the firewall, you have to take the entire dash out because the HVAC box right here is blocking that access port for the wire right here. And I'll show you guys right here was the problem on this car. The wire, this point, this contact point that goes to the PDC of the top for the top up there is loose. This was causing an intermittent start issue. And of course, we had other techs that didn't know what they're doing, replacing batteries, other stuff, replacing stuff that wasn't what the problem was. So I had to
was it necessary
taking apart the whole interior, basically front, to figure out this problem. But if you own a Grand Cherokee 2024 or any of this new body style, be careful, because a lot of these cars are under lemon law, and Stellantis knows that. Then they've been wanting to get updates on this car. But be careful when you buy one of these guys, because I've seen a lot of problems with wiring and electrical, and your car might be subject to this. Peace out, guys.
And imagine a $20 part and you're going to be paying $3,000 in labor just to access this problem. And you all wonder why Stellantis went under. For years on models like the Wrangler and the Grand Cherokee, the villain was the totally integrated power module, or the TIPM. When this electrical brain goes bad, chaos ensues. The horn might blare randomly, wipers turn on by themselves, or the engine just stalls on the highway. And while the TIPM is less common now, Jeeps haven't kicked the habit. And we're now seeing major recalls on recent 4XE hybrid models for battery issues that can cause a sudden loss of power or even a fire. It's a different problem, but the same theme of serious safety risk.
What are Jeep's most common issues?
Timing chains.
What are Jeep's most common issues?
The 360s have oil cooler rates.
What are Jeep's most common issues? Death wobble, lower ball joints, track bar, power steering issues, oil coolers. What are Jeep's most common issues?
Jeeps are very common with oil cooler leak. They leak a ton of oil. They always fill the valley, set the check engine light off. Water pumps, very common concern on Jeeps. And then also Jeeps are notorious for a death wobble. I was actually just talking to a customer about a death wobble on their son's car. It's just at highway speeds, when they hit a bump, you have a bit of a vibration from the front of the vehicle. So unfortunately, yes, there are a few things that Jeeps are known for, water pumps, oil cooler, suspension issues. That's a consistent thing here, but overall, Jeeps are a pretty good car.
Hey Ryan, what are Jeep's most common issues?
Weird as it is, like the blend door, like dash HVAC stuff.
Hey Kelly,
What's up?
what are some issues that Jeeps have?
Oh man, Jeeps, the newer Jeeps have totally integrated power module issues because they have a fuel pump relay that is internal with the circuit board. Stay away from those.
What are Jeep's most common issues?
Which Jeep are we talking about here?
All Jeeps.
All Jeeps. Let's just start with their wiring.
Fair enough. What are Jeep's most common issues?
Just empty every pocket.
What?
So basically, from engine ticks on the death wobble to infuriating designs and deep electrical problems, the Jeep problem is a real pattern of frustrating and expensive issues we see every single day. We get why people love their Jeeps, aka the pavement princess, which is the Wrangler. The community and the capability are a powerful draw, but loving your car shouldn't mean having to put up with these kinds of fundamental flaws.
Obviously not owned one. We probably drive a Tacoma or a Tundra taco truck.
There's a lot of Jeep lovers out there that'll probably try to run you over with those big tires they put on there, if you say that.
Jeeps are an expensive hobby. We'll leave it at that.
Jeep? It's not a Jeep. They're not terrible. You could definitely get way worse. What's worse than a Jeep? BMW.
But I don't like that car.
Maybe not the worst, but I've heard of a lot of problems with Jeeps. They are not as durable as people want to think that they are.
It's not the worst. I mean, there are worser cars out there, in my opinion. But no, I don't think it's the worst.
It's not the worst, but yeah, one of them, but not the worst.
I just think they're overpriced for what they really are.
Jeep? Oh, I don't think that's true. I like Jeeps. They're cool.
For someone who's into doing their own repairs, even as a hobby, going off-road, they're great vehicles.
At least we're trying to stay balanced so that you, the consumer, can make the right decision when you're going out there to make that fundamental investment, which is the second largest to a house. What's the worst Jeep problem you've ever had to deal with? Drop a comment below and make sure you subscribe for more secrets from the garage. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. The links are in the description box below. Stay sharp, stay educated, and I will catch you in the next one.